ايش قيت عمرك؟
12.
12 ما شاء الله. هاي شنو؟
عيال
وين حلو؟ زين؟
جاب الخنجر طيب ما طيب.
Yeah, he said he's here by himself. He's got no mother or father. Oh, look at Hayduri here. He's so happy with his toy. Last time he smiled like this. Who knows? Brothers and sisters, you can see the excitement here. This child may have a mental illness as well, ADHD or something like that. But here in Iraq, there's nothing to help them. There's nothing to give them service or aid them and assist them through these hard times. And on top of that, he's also an orphan. Brothers and sisters, with your donations, you can give children like this happiness, health, and education, and give them, most of all, a better future and chance at life.
Your support, their strength. Sponsor an orphan and witness the power of compassion.
Water is the key to life, yet millions have no access to this basic human necessity. Imam Hussein Charity is building water wells in Pakistan. Help the survival of many who can't have this basic human right. Those who are at risk of disease and even worse, death. Imam Hussein Charity has a 6-month guarantee of completion of each water well project. Help transform the lives of the believers who live without water. Donate today.
These orphans need your help and require your assistance. Don't let any of these orphans go hungry this Ramadan. Please donate.
Don't let this be the end. Keep the hope alive.
Assalamu alaikum. What's your name?
Ali.
Ali. MashaAllah. How old are you?
7.
7. Wow,
years.
7-year-old Ali. MashaAllah.
ماما بابا موجودين؟
لا بس أمه.
بس ماما موجودة؟ بابا وين؟
بابا ميت.
بابا ميت رحمة الله عليه. ايش قد مشتاق لبابا علي؟
هواي.
ايش قد هواية؟
يعني تقريبا قد السنة.
I ask Ali, do you miss Dad? He says yes. And I said, how much do you miss Dad? And he's only 7 years old, but he's seen the difficulties of life that his answer is of an adult. And he says, I miss Dad in the space of the sky. في المستقبل شنو تريد تصير؟
أصير كابتن طيارة.
إن شاء الله إن شاء الله. شو تصير حق كابتن علي؟
إيه.
Captain Ali. He hopes that he'll grow up to be a captain. But brothers and sisters, this is your donations that Ali's dream of being captain will come true. This is why we urge you to donate now and make Ali's dream come true.
Sponsor an orphan and weave dreams into reality. Give the gift of tomorrow. Sponsor an orphan and watch their world change through their eyes.
No one really has gone through that experience and was able to report back what they felt on a sensory level.
The believer will see their place and their position in Jannah, and they will see that what they're leaving behind in this dunya, in this lower dunya, is nothing compared to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will promise them and will give them in the afterlife.
If I do any good deed and gift it to the soul of a mahroom, Allah Azza wa Jal will send the thawab to the grave of that individual.
Embark on a journey through the timeless wisdom of the Holy Quran, exploring its profound impact on our daily lives. Welcome to Her Thoughts on Imam Hussein TV, where exclusive discussions inspired by the Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam await.
Dive into the complexities faced by women today, from challenges in inter-community marriages to the growing concerns in mental health. Join us in these empowering conversations as we draw inspiration from the Ahlul Bayt.
In the midst of contemporary struggles, we highlight the significance of self-control. Tune in for insights into spirituality, resilience and societal support as we explore diverse topics.
Welcome to Her Thoughts. Here at Ramadan At GMT. Today we're talking about the very important topic.
Don't miss the opportunity to be part of this enriching series, offering exclusive perspectives that shape your understanding. Join us for Her Thoughts on Imam Hussein TV, your gateway to Karbala.
And welcome to Ahkam SOS, the show that discusses Islamic duties and practices. This is a live show. We do take in your questions, so if you have any question you'd like to ask, please send it in via the WhatsApp number there below. You can scan the QR code there in the corner. If you're watching on Facebook Live or you're watching on YouTube, you can put your questions in the comment section, and inshallah the technical team will send them to me on my trusted iPad here. If you'd like to call in, 0203 515 0199 if you're in the UK. And if you're outside the UK, you can just call on the WhatsApp number. It's not a problem, and that is the quickest way to get your answer, inshallah. I'm your host, Mohsin Shah, and joining me is Sheikh Alima. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Sheikhna, how are we doing this evening?
Alhamdulillah, taqabbalallahu as-siyam wal ibadah.
Minna minkum, inshallah, Sheikhna. Sheikhna, we have gone past now halfway. We've even had the birth of Imam Al-Hassan alayhi salam, which we've been celebrating, inshallah. All those watching were celebrating in their local centres and so forth. Now our attention kind of turns towards his father, Amir al-Mu'mineen. There's only a few days until, you know, the day of the Darba, I think they call it, the hit, the strike, and so forth. So, Sheikhna, right now, spiritually, where should we be going with our fasting, with our amal, with our dua, and so forth?
I think now we have gone into the second stage of preparation for the Layal al-Qadr and the Shahada of the Imam alayhi salam. So, inshallah, we ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to give us the strength and the ability to be able to revive these nights, ihya these nights, in terms of the ibadah, in terms of commemoration, in terms of remembering our marhumeen, especially those who had passed, you know, they have, let's say, marhumeen of the fathers or mothers or even grandfathers and mothers, to remember in these nights and to confess our sins before Allah Azza wa Jalla, inshallah.
Inshallah. Shaykhna, we've got questions coming in already, but before we start answering, any advice you have for our viewers?
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين. Inshallah, we're going to be reciting dua Abi Hamza in the couple of nights coming. Abi Hamza Thimali, dua of the Imam As-Sajjad alayhi salam, in the Sahar of the month of Ramadan, the long dua. In this part, the Imam salam Allah says to Allah Azza wa Jal, فَإِنْ عَفَوْتَ فَخَيْرُ رَاحِمْ. If you forgive me, you are most merciful. وَإِنْ عَذَّبْتَ فَغَيْرُ ظَالِمْ. And if you punish me, نعوذ بالله, you are not unjust. يعني you do it with justness, with justice, with adl. You are not ظالم, نعوذ بالله. So Allah's reward is basically a mercy to the one who deserves it, to go to paradise. And if he does, نعوذ بالله, punishes someone, a believer, then because they deserve it. And he's not unjust, نعوذ بالله.
Fair. Just a quick reminder to all the viewers that the phone lines are open. You can WhatsApp your question right there. Or if you're watching on Facebook Live or YouTube, you can put it in the comment section. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Please, is it allowed to lean on something like a table if we do not have balance while praying? Thank you. That's from WhatsApp.
There are stages with regards to those who can't pray while standing, while sitting. So if you're in that situation that you need to lean, then of course the Sharia would allow for the one who cannot, let's say, pray while standing to sit down, otherwise to lay down and pray on the floor.
From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. I know that Surah Tawbah, we don't say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim in the beginning, but if we are reciting ayahs in the middle of the surah, do we say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim? Thank you.
The surah is there supposed to be not to be recited Bismillah when you start it.
So even in between, if you pick ayah, I don't know, 10.
I'm not sure, but I wouldn't recite myself.
Okay.
I wouldn't recite.
You wouldn't recite it?
No.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum. Is there a hadith forbidding eating of two meats at the same time in one meal, like eating chicken and lamb? I had this discussion the other day with some friends over iftar. Apparently, it is makruh to have more than one meat type on your plate. So let's say you've got some lamb, you've got some chicken, you've got some beef. Apparently, it's makruh to do that.
In terms of forbiddenness, I haven't seen anyone saying that's forbidden. Karaha, maybe there's something someone mentioned them. I can't remember, yeah.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Is it permissible to do mut'ah without a wali's permission for a girl?
The girl who is virgin.
I don't know, it just says there
And
without.
she is Muslim. So two conditions, Muslim and virgin.
Yes.
No, you have to get the permission from the wali who is the father or the father of the father.
From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Does the hadith, whoever angers Fatima alayhi salam has angered me, apply to the riwayah where Imam Ali alayhi salam had a dispute with Fatima alayhi salam and the Prophet called him Abu Turab when he found him in the masjid?
Sadly, the Amawids worked very hard to distort the image of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. Like saying Imam Hussein, he was mitlaq, means somebody who used to marry and divorce multiple times. I think up to 90 times mentioned in some of the narrations. So it is impossible for a ma'soom. If he's a ma'soom, he wouldn't basically harm or hurt the ma'soom who is Fatima alayhi salam.
Or vice versa.
Vice versa. It's impossible if he's ma'soom, like the Anbiya alayhi salam. It's impossible for, let's say, Yaqub to cause harm to Yusuf alayhi salam. They're both ma'soomin, Anbiya. And Ibrahim and so forth. So it contradicts the Holy Quran about ayat al-tathir. وَيُطَهِّرَكُمْ تَطْهِيرًا. And he would thorough purification. This tathira means that they are purified from all sins, from all filth, from all sins and wrongdoings and mistakes. So it's impossible for Ma'soom to cause distress, to cause harm, to cause anger to the other Ma'soom alayhi salam.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum both. Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. How does one perform ghusl with a bleeding wound on the finger that causes a tiny amount of blood? I don't know if you're bleeding, you don't have to do ghusl. No?
No, if he has a wajib ghusl, let's say, let's give this scenario.
Okay.
Wajib ghusl and he's bleeding. Try to wait to wash it, for example, apply some, I don't know, bandage maybe. It depends really, otherwise it becomes like ghusl jabiri. If it's a deep wound, deep cut, then of course it becomes ghusl jabiri.
From YouTube, and also if Imam Ali alayhi salam named his sons after the caliphs, I've researched about it a lot, didn't get any satisfying answer. Okay, Sheikhna, there is something in regards to Amir al-Mu'mineen having children named Abu Bakr, Umar, and things like that. Did Imam Ali have children named like this? Were they his children? Were they adopted? Did he name them these names?
Of course, when Fatima salamullah alayha, she passed away, she had 5 children, Imam Hussein al-Hussein salamullah anhum, and Zainab ibn Kulthum, and Muhsin, the miscarried child. And then the Imam married other women, Umama and others, Umm al-Baneen salamullah alayha, and some other women. So in terms of the having, let's say, names of Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and so forth, there are disputes and arguments about these narrations. With regards to Umar, something is mentioned. However, we need to know who named him Umar. This is number one. There's also debate about it. Is it Ali alayhi salam or the wife? And number two, or someone else. Number two, if this was true narration with the correct and sahih narrators, now, does this mean that the Imam gave credit to those individuals? When he named his son Uthman, this is famous, this is something nobody can deny and reject. He said, I named him Uthman because of the Uthman ibn Mad'un, this righteous Sahabi who died and passed away. Uthman ibn Mad'un. So these names were famous and widely spread in that time. It wasn't something bad. Like in the time of the Iraqi tyrant in the 80s and 90s. He had sons, Uday and Qusay. So people used to call the children Uday and Qusay, which was something known as. But now nobody would call them, because now they became the title of those tyrants. So these names were famous, and well, even we have Muawiyah bin Wahab, rahimahullah, one of the Imam, Baqan Sadiq, one of them of Ashab. We have Umar ibn Yazid. Umar ibn Yazid. The Imam says, Minna Ahl al-Bayt. He's among us, Ahl al-Bayt.
I was looking
Umar ibn Yazid, imagine.
I saw a post yesterday on the 72 companions of Imam Hussein. One of them was named Yazid. I think his name is Yazid ibn al-Hassan or something like that. And there was another one called Umar as well, in the 72 companions of Abu Abdullah who died in Karbala.
So these names were famous in that time. Then gradually the Shia of Ahl Bayt, they start to call them their name, the sons and daughters' names with Ali, Hassan, Fatima, Zainab and so forth, because of this suppression against the Shia of Ahl Bayt, and of course to glorify and to make those names to illuminate in the world of Islam.
From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Is spanking in the workplace as a joke permissible? I think that's when you tap someone on their hip or on the side or behind. I guess it's very, very, what's the word? Brotherly, you could say. Is that allowed in the workplace?
As long as haram is not committed, that's fine. In terms of the haram. If it's committed, then of course that would be haram, especially with the opposite gender. We want to avoid. Yeah, that's the problem.
Make sure you don't get caught. From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Is there any issue in having tattoos that depict animals? What about something like flowers or bees?
In overall, tattoos are allowed according to many of the ulama. Now some would say this is makruh or discouraged. Ala kull hal, it's allowed. Just make sure that you don't tattoo the names of Allah Azza wa Jal, Allah, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, and so forth.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. From YouTube, can I use the asthma inhaler while fasting?
The ulama say you can use it as long as it's the gas type of asthma, which goes inside your, not the throat, inside your lungs, in other words. So it's like a gas types.
From WhatsApp, this is a very good question. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. If a couple have separated and have had English Western divorce, but not the Islamic divorce, is the nikah still valid? The separation time has been around 5 years. So, couple here have had a Western divorce. They've been separate for 5 years now. However, they have not had an Islamic divorce. Is their nikah still valid?
What's important that you respect the law of the country you live in terms of the divorce or marriage. As soon as you divorce legally, you have to also divorce shari'i as well. As soon as you get married shari'i, make sure that you do it legally as well. So your papers are all up to date. Just make sure that you don't do something illegal or khilaf al-shara as well.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. I took my shahada before this Ramadan. Alhamdulillah, I unfortunately have 3 tattoos from before. However, I can't afford to remove them right now. Any advice? There's no issues with having tattoos.
It should be fine. Yeah.
There's no issues with tattoos.
Unless it has the name of Allah Azza wa Jal and so forth.
Okay, Sheikhna from WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum. Is it permissible to visit Lal Shahbaz Qalandar? I've heard mixed opinions regarding this. I'm not sure the Sheikh is aware of who Shahbaz Qalandar is. But Sheikhna, outside of the Ahlul Bayt, we have many graves of Sayyidzadas. We have of what we call like saints, really religious, pious people who people claim were very close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. some of them could perform miracles. For example, one could interpret dreams. One could maybe, animals didn't come harm him or anything like that. One would, if he prayed for you to have a child, you'd have a child and so forth. And their graves are respected. People still go visit. They put flowers on their graves and so forth. Shahbaz Kalanda is arguably one of the biggest Sufi saints, a big lover of Amirul Mu'mineen, buried in the Sindh region of Pakistan. Many Shia go there to visit him. Many claim he was a Shia. He was a lover of Amirul Mu'mineen. He brought Shia Islam to the southern parts of Pakistan, over 1,000 years ago and so forth. Are we allowed to go visit such graves and such people?
Well, initially you have to make sure that you identify the person's belief and aqidah initially. So you can go and pay respect and read dua and recite, all the ad'iyah and ziyarat and so forth for his ruh. So you have to make sure that this individual is a mu'min salih individual, and not someone who innovative or sahib bid'ah and so forth. That's very important. And secondly, you have to go back to the ulama to see all the Maulanas who know these things. So go back to the Shara to see those who have the history of the ancestors and so forth, to find, is this person the person who deserves to be respected this much or no. So that's important. Always go back to the ulama.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. If I am going to a doctor's or a hospital and they have to put an ultrasound, like a camera or something, a probe, inside the female private area, does my fast become invalidated?
As I mentioned, the 10 or 11 of the muftarat, I think the last one, which I was going to mention today, I was going to mention it now, is vomiting, in which vomiting would intentionally, even if the doctor asks you to vomit intentionally because of the illness, that will break your fast and you have to make up later without kafara. And if it happened, for example, unintentionally, that wouldn't break your fast. So you just throw out unintentionally. With this regard, in terms of putting substance, in this case, we have to see, this is not part of the muftarat as I haven't seen. Because what breaks the fast, as I've mentioned, is to inject liquid inside from the enema through the lower side of the body towards the stomach. That would break the fast. So maybe you have to check, but I haven't seen such a thing to be one of the muftarat.
But it's about they're asking a probe or a camera or whatever in the front private part of a lady. Would that break the fast?
I'm not sure, but yeah, we have to check.
That's fine. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. I know that mut'a was allowed and done by many companions of the Prophet, but why did Prophet Muhammad ﷺ introduce the rule? The Prophet didn't introduce the rule. The rule was introduced by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, but Sheikh, please.
Which rules?
Pardon?
Which rules?
Mut'a.
Yes, in the Holy Quran, as I've mentioned before many times, the verse is there that فَآتُوهُنَّ أُجُورَهُنَّ, after you perform the mut'ah, give them their mahar. It's in the Holy Quran initially, and Allah Azza wa Jal is wise. It is part of the marriage. It's not something outside the marriage, outside of the wedlock. You have to preserve the conditions, the shurut of the marriage, like make sure that she's not married, and you give her dowry and the mahar, and there should be a duration for it. You have to specify the duration. Again, if she's virgin, you have to ask the father's permission, and all these conditions for the marriage also apply to the short-term marriage. So it is a marriage, and it's in the Quran and in the Hadith and the Sunnah. Of course, the problem is with some of the Sahaba who came and claimed Khilafah falsely. They said we have to ban it. It's not suitable for them. I don't know why.
Sure. From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna, does vitamin injections to your bloodstream break the fast?
No, it wouldn't. Of course, as a mustahab ihtiyat to avoid it, but it wouldn't break, no.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna, from WhatsApp. In the case of a Shia girl marrying a Sunni man, what kind of nikah contract applies? Is it any different?
If, let's say, if you have a Maulana Shia who can perform it, of course, because that should do the job in terms of the reciting the nikah of the contract by Maulana Sheikh.
From WhatsApp, is divorce an option for a woman whose husband is verbally abusive and doesn't fulfill his role as a responsible husband and is worried for her safety and child's safety too? She tried talking to his parents, but it has made no difference to his akhlaq.
I mean, if she can't be patient with him and apply all the akhlaqi, let's say, etiquettes and conducts, she can raise her issue to the Ahkam SOS, who is the marja, and she can ask for the divorce. Of course, this is going to be known as khul'i divorce. Khul'i means she begins to hate the husband. She doesn't like him anymore. In this case, she has to turn down all, the mahar, the money, whatever.
Okay, just what's the word? Forfeit, I guess is the word.
Tabdil, yeah.
Yes,
so that's the thing. So she's going to lose.
She's walking away.
She's going to lose,
because she doesn't want to be
the wealth,
anymore.
basically.
From YouTube, is it normal to get palpitations after opening fasts? You need to see a doctor. Either you're eating too fast or you're eating something with too many chemicals and substances, which is causing your heart rate to beat too much while opening your fast. From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. A man and his wife both work and each receive a salary. Is it correct for the man to pay the couple's khums, even if the woman has her own savings, which are counted in the calculation of the khums?
If she has her own saving and her income all separate, of course, each pays for themselves. So each pay their own khums separately.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. There's a story which says Al-Kulthum was married to the second Khalif. What is the real incident behind this thing?
I couldn't really find something genuine with this regard. Different narrations. I think you mentioned something about the jinn to be sent to him in the form of... So I couldn't really reach any conclusion.
From YouTube, I'm a medical student. We work on cadavers. Is it obligatory to have ghusl every time I touch it? I'm not sure what a cadaver is. I'm assuming it's a dead body. So every time we touch the dead body for science...
Yeah, if it's like skin-to-skin touch and it's a cold body, yes, you have to do the ghusl of mass al-mayyit.
Mass al-mayyit. Make sure you wear gloves. 2 or 3 maybe. From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. If you did istikhara and the outcome didn't happen yet, and it's been almost a year, does this mean you did it wrong?
No, the istikhara is in the time of hesitation, when you're not sure about which path to go and proceed. In this case, you take istikhara. And sometimes if you don't really implement the istikhara, in other words, practically, then you can take another istikhara with different intention, for example. It's up to you, but make sure that if it's bad, avoid it. Don't do it.
Sheikhna, we're going to go to a short break. Join us after the break as we continue our discussion here on Ahkam SOS. If you have a question you'd like to ask, now is the best time to send it in. The WhatsApp number should be there below. You can scan the QR code, or if you're watching on Facebook Live or YouTube, you can put your questions in the comment section. And during the break, we'll collect all of your questions, and inshallah, we'll continue to answer them after this short message.
I have a question regarding keeping pictures of scholars at home.
Is it permissible to plant trees by or over
Islam
the
establish based on peace and
Is it
non-violence?
permissible to collect donations for charity projects from
Is it permitted to consume canned food imported from non-Muslim countries?
Is there an issue for men looking at non-Muslim women?
To have your questions answered live, WhatsApp us on +44 7415 092155.
For those interested in an Islamic law book by Ayatollah Sayyid Sadiq Al-Shirazi, please WhatsApp the Ahkam SOS team at the following number to place your order today: +44 7415 092155. The Islamic law book, available exclusively in hard copy, contains religious questions answered by Grand Ayatollah Sayyid Sadiq Al-Shirazi. Order your hard copy today.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. You can order your Islamic law book there on the WhatsApp number. Just give us your name and address and so forth, and we'll be able to hopefully dispatch that to yourself. You are now watching Ahkam SOS, the show that discusses Islamic duties and practices. If you have a question you'd like to ask, you can tell us on the WhatsApp number there, scan the QR code. If you're watching on Facebook Live or YouTube, put it in the comment section. If you'd like to give us a call, 0203 515 0199 if you're in the UK. And if you're outside the UK, you can just call the WhatsApp number there below, and that will put you straight through to us. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. From WhatsApp, what is the difference between tawassul, istighatha, and ista'na?
You see, these are different terms mentioned in the books of the Lugha of the dictionary of the Arabic, istighatha and tawassul. At the end of the day, it pours into the point of asking Allah Azza wa Jal or His representatives, the prophets and the Imam Sallallahu Alayhim. So you would do tawassul or istighatha to the Imam alayhi salam or to the Prophet of Allah Azza wa Jal for your hajat, because they have closer connection to Allah Azza wa Jal, because they are infallible, again, asma. They are sinless, they have the best morals. وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. So you would ask Allah through those individuals for your hajah, for your deeds. And this is not shirk or kufr, because the Quran says وَابْتَغُوا إِلَيْهِ الْوَسِيلَةَ. Seek means towards Allah Azza wa Jal.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Does performing mut'ah without the permission of the wali make the marriage invalid or just haram?
Seems to be there's a difference between the ulama opinions, that some would say it's would invalid the marriage contract, and some would say it's haram. Some say because it's either a hukum shar'i, you know, in terms of the hurma. That's the difference.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. I understand that magic is haram, learning and practicing. Is that true? What about illusions and trickery, games of tricks, learning or practicing for the sake of fun and earning a livelihood?
Yeah, the magic we just mentioned, and is very famous in terms of using some kind of tools, let's say other creatures, for example, for this, but to harm others, that's forbidden, of course. But tricks and so forth is just for the fun. As I've said before, don't waste your time with these things. Find better jobs or learn something that is useful for the humanity, either to be alim or to be muta'allim, a scholar or a learner, or to be somebody who would benefit the society, a teacher, a doctor, mechanics, pharmacist, and so forth.
Question here from WhatsApp. Assalamu alaikum. Oh, I think we've got a phone call. Inshallah, we'll go straight to the phone caller. Assalamu alaikum. You're live on Ahkam SOS.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. How are you, Sayyid? How are you, Sheikh?
I am very well. Thank you very much, brother. I hope you're having a wonderful Ramadan.
Alhamdulillah. I hope you are too, both you and the Sheikh. So my question is, so I just recently found out that Zakat al-Fitr is wajib. And I was wondering, now that I've known it's wajib, obviously I will start paying it forward. But from all the times I've missed out from the last few years, is it still wajib for me to pay it, or is there a kafara I have to pay on top? How does that work?
Fantastic. Great question. Sheikh, any more information you need?
That's it.
The Sheikh will answer your question now.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed, the Zakat al-Fitr is wajib, and one should not delay the payment of the Zakat al-Fitr. So, in terms of the past years, we have to see if that's waived on him or he needs to pay it now. We have to ask the ulama, inshallah, with the Zakat, inshallah.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Shabazz Qalandar is the son of Ibrahim Mujtaba, buried next to Imam Hussein. Oh, so it's a Sayyid Zada. Are we allowed to go visit the Sayyid Zada?
As I've said before, if the ulama say he was a good person, muttaqi, alim, wari', and so forth, why not? A mu'min, you can visit any mu'min, even your parents, even your grandfathers, your uncles, and recite Surah Yasin, Fatiha, and dua, and so forth, and make niyaz on their behalf, for example.
I've got a question here from WhatsApp. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna and Sayyid Mohsin. What Malachi from South London did was a heinous act, but is this halal or not? Okay, Mr. Malachi from South London, everything is allowed in Islam as long as it's, you're not eating or drinking anything najis, and it is consensual. Everything is okay. Thank you for your question. From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. What is recommendation of Ahlul Bayt when breaking fast? Is it better to perform Maghrib Salah prior to breaking the fast with dates or water, or to complete the Salah and then?
Of course, to pray first. This is the priority given, always. Salah first. But if somebody is waiting for you on the dinner table, sufra, you have guests, then of course it's better to go and join them and eat with them and then pray afterwards.
From YouTube, someone said, Sayyid Sheikh Mohsin, I love you. I love you too, to all my fans out there and everyone that watches Imam Hussein TV. We are very, very grateful for your support and your love. From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Why is there such a big difference in the opening of fasting times in the last 6 years in Nottingham? 6 different Mulanas have had different opinions. After the adhan, should we open the fast or complete salah then open fast? So there's opening fast, you pray or eat, and then there's also the timing, the different timings, 6 timings to open fast.
I mean, sadly, for the past 30, 40 years, when ulama came to the UK, maybe even more than 40 years, and they gathered to basically to establish a united timetable for the prayers for the Shia, for Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. There were some kind of differences with this regard. You know, some centers had their own timings, the others wanted to make some ihtiyat. So that's why we have sadly different timetables, about 5-6 minutes difference, sometimes even more. So inshallah, we pray to Allah Azza wa Jalla that somebody will come forward and tries to unite these timetables for the Shia of Ahlul Bayt, that we have one time. Of course, we have a problem here in the UK and in Europe at large, that we cannot identify exactly when the Fajr is. There are 6 Fajr in the UK at least. Wow. So which one is the Fajr Sadiq, the true Fajr? And then with the Maghrib again, we can't see the redness in most of the cases in the sky, so they couldn't really actually recognize when the Maghrib is exactly in terms of the Shari'i Maghrib. So that's why you see the difference in terms of the Fajr and the Maghrib, both.
From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. I've been told that going to Karbala carries more reward than going to Hajj. Is this true?
You see, the Wajib Hajj has no way. You have to go for the Wajib Hajj at least once in your lifetime, and it cannot be replaced with anything else.
Yes.
Wajib Hajj, Hajjatul Islam, you must go. If you are capable, mustati', you have the money, you have the means to go, you have to go. There's no way. In terms of the mustahabbat, of course, the Sharia identifies which has more rewarding. And we take our religion from Kitabullah wa Itrat Ahlul Bayt, as the Prophet said in the books of the Sahih and in the Shia books as well. Yes. That the book of Allah Azza wa Jal and the Prophet himself and his progeny and his family, hadith and statements and sunnah. So if they say that the ziyarah of Karbala is more rewarding, we submit. That doesn't mean that Hajj is not, or the Umrah.
No, we're not undermining
exactly.
the importance of Hajj.
Because in Kaaba you have the black stone, and you have blocks of stones or rocks, which makes this Kaaba, of course, built by the Prophet of Allah Azza wa Jal, Ibrahim alayhi salam, and Ismail salamullah alayhima. But in Karbala you have the body of the Master of the youth of the heavens, Sayyid Shabab Ahl Jannah, as mentioned in the books of Ahl Sunnah as well. Hussein minni wa ana min Hussein, all these hadith. So this gives status to this great land of Karbala and the land of sacrifice, which was, the event of Karbala took place, and the purest blood of the Ahl Bayt were shed on that land.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Single mother with 3 yatim children. I work part-time, barely make money. Someone told me I have to pay zakah.
Zakat, in terms of zakatul fitra, of course, we have to see if you have be able to, pay your costs and you have money, you have to pay for the zakatul fitra, which is not much, annually on the Eid al-Fitr. I don't think it would exceed more than 25-30 pounds, roughly 30 pounds, if she's in the UK. So it's not much if she's working and she's getting some income. But in terms of the khumus, she has to see by the end of the year if she has any surplus, any leftover money unspent, of course. Even if it's 10 pounds, you pay 2 pounds, 1/5 as khumus. And there's a barakah in this payment. The wajib zakat is for those who have farms, cattle,
lands with wheat and so forth. Yeah.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. I would like to ask about historical background of a battle between Barul Alam, which Imam Ali is said to have fought with the jinns. This question came before. I'm not sure if the Sheikh is familiar.
I think
but it's about the well.
We spoke that the Imam went inside the well.
Yeah,
and he came out.
Well and he fought. And
that's mentioned. Yeah.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum. How can one get help with their heart? No feelings in their heart. If you are feeling very numb, you need to go see a psychiatrist and a doctor. This is more of a psychological thing. Sheikhna, for those people who don't really have empathy in their heart, who don't really feel emotions, are there any du'as or anything? Normally this is caused by trauma or some sort of mental health that they're going through. This is why I said go see a GP or whatever. But Sheikh, are there any du'as or anything to help soften someone's heart? Listen to the Masahib of Imam Hussein maybe?
You gave the first option. The second option is to go to the ziyarah of Ahl Bayt alayhi salam in Arba'in, in Ashura, to go to Umrah or Hajj mustahab if they want to. That would inshallah help a lot. Inshallah. Not just for the heart, even psychologically, emotionally inshallah.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Is a man allowed to act just like a woman and vice versa in a film or drama related to ethics, general historical related to the tragedy of Karbala in the gathering of women, someone becoming Imam Hussein and so forth? Sheikhna, we have this, especially with the sisters, when they are doing a performance.
And the opposite as well.
And the opposite as well. Sometimes they'll get young boys who are slim and short and so forth to dress up as the women and portray the women, and vice versa. The sisters sometimes will dress up as Abu Fadil or Ali al-Akbar and so forth. Is this allowed? Is this acceptable?
Yes, it's allowed as a short-term act. So, yeah.
Fair. From YouTube, how do babies or disabled people who die get to the opportunity to get to the layer of 7th of Jannah? I think all children and those who are disabled get a shortcut when they pass away to Jannah, Sheikhna. Can you elaborate a little bit more?
Yes, the narration states that this child will sit. The word says muhbanti'an, so he sits on the doorstep of the Jannah, and he wouldn't go inside the paradise. And he tells maybe the angels or others that I won't go inside until I take my parents with me inside the paradise. So he becomes like a shafi'. Those who don't believe in shafa'ah, this child of somebody who is not ma'soom and infallible can do shafa'ah for his parents and take them towards the paradise.
From YouTube, please give examples of short du'as performed just during the final sajda of salah. Okay, the final sujood, Sheikhna, there's always a du'a. The famous one is Ya wali al-afiyah, afiyah fi dunya wal-akhirah. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. Is there any other ones, famous ones that they recite on the last sujood?
Yes, it's mentioned that I think one of the Imams ﷺ that they used to recite this in their sujood or in their dua. Allahumma inni as'aluka ar-rahata 'inda al-maut. Oh Allah, I ask the ease in my death time. وَالْمَغْفِرَةَ بَعْدَ الْمَوْتِ, and forgiveness after my death. وَالْعَفْوَ عِنْدَ الْحِسَابِ, and to be forgiving on the day of judgment in the hisab time.
From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. A relative wants to start construction of his house in Pakistan. That's where I live. He needs some guidance on any Sharia, tariqah or rules before he starts the construction. He has been told by his acquaintances in Pakistan to give sadaqah before the construction starts and bury blood of the sacrifice of the goat in the foundations of the house. He has not found any such thing in Tawfatul Imam. Please guide if this is fine or if there is another way to start with all the barakah. Thank you very much. Somebody wants to start building a house, Sheikhna, and they've been told maybe to sacrifice a lamb and the blood of that lamb to put it in the foundations of the house and then build on that and so forth. Is this true? Do we have such a tradition? Or is there something else he can do? Maybe hold a majlis or give sadaqah?
I mean, what I heard and saw that some of the ulama who used to attend the majalis of Ahl Bayt alayhim salam, one of the ulama who was a mujtahid as well, he actually went to one of the Imam Bargas or Husainiyah and they actually refurbished the place. So they had to rebuild the place. It was an old building. So they demolished the walls and the ceilings And the alim came and he puts a bit of Turbat al-Hussein alayhi salam under the foundation to get the barakah from this khak shafa in that Hussein. That Imam Barga becomes like part of Karbala, inshallah, to get the blessings of the Karbala.
Inshallah. From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. If I've committed zina, how can I be certain Allah will forgive me if I repent?
We have a caller?
I'm not sure. Let me find out. The producer, do we have a caller on the line? Okay, let's go straight to the caller, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. You're live on Ahkam SOS.
Why does Jesus do murder?
Okay, thank you very much for your question. And I'll ask the Sheikh now. The question was, I think, does Hazrat Isa do latam? Does he mourn for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein? And why does he mourn for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein?
I mean, if the brother believes in our riwayat and narrations of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, yes, we have narrations that from Adam alayhi salam, all the way to Ibrahim, to Musa, to Isa, to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, they all mourned Imam Hussein alayhi salam in somehow. We have detailed narration with this regard.
Yes.
And it's from Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, it's not from our own pocket. So you have to come to Ahlul Bayt's school and institution to be able to study and read so you can believe in these hadith that these are said by the Ma'soom, by the infallible. And Imam Hussein alayhi salam is somebody who changed the world with his blood and saved millions for the course of the history. So come to Imam Hussein salam and he will inshallah guide you.
Inshallah. From WhatsApp, Sheikh, the question was, if I've committed zina, how can I be certain Allah will forgive me if I repent?
In the Holy Quran, we have many verses about Allah's forgiveness. Inna Allah yaghfir al-dhunuba jami'a. Allah would forgive all the sins. Ghafur Rahim. Wa ya'fu an kathir. He would forgive many of the sins. So repent sincerely, and Allah Azza wa Jal have this assurance and certainty that He will forgive you, inshallah. Azza wa Jal.
Inshallah. From WhatsApp, there are madhabs. There are madahs and latmiyas on YouTube, and there are some there that are quite a bit more louder and are sung in a bit more extremely than others. Are they okay to do, listen to, and participate in?
As long as there's no music involved in these latmiyat or noha, music, dance, and so forth, that would be allowed. Otherwise, one should, ala kulli hal, be careful.
And okay, assalamu alaikum. Can you please elaborate more about the divorce question, as I didn't understand the answer clearly? So, is the nikah valid or is it void? The question was in regards to having a Western divorce and not an Islamic one. So, is the nikah still valid or is it not valid anymore?
You must do shar'i nikah. You have to go initially. Now, before the legal or the Western divorce or after, it doesn't make a difference. What is important to be able to separate from this lady or from this man, you have to go and perform the shar'i divorce, let's say by Maulana or resident alim or one of the Ayatullah's representatives. Go there to their office or their center, and perform the shar'i and Islamic divorce. You have to have two witnesses, for example, shahidan adilan, two just witnesses, for example. The month in which you actually want to perform the divorce, you should have no intercourse in that month, في طهر لم يوقعها فيه, and so forth. Conditions, you have to meet all these conditions so you can have a shar'i divorce. Otherwise, that's just a legal paper for the case of the law of the country you live in.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Is interest haram, like your banking money getting interest?
Sorry?
Is interest haram, for example, when you take a loan out and there's interest on there, or the interest that the bank gives and so forth? That sort of interest, is that haram?
In terms of receiving or giving interest, ulama have different ara with this regard and opinions. In terms of giving interest or receiving, to receive interest with regards to the Islamic banks and the non-Islamic banks. In terms of the Western banks, of course, you can receive what you have to pay khumus when you receive the interest from the bank. To give interest, of course, let's say you use your, let's say, student loan and so forth. If you're compelled, when you receive that loan, you can't pay the interest because you're compelled. The same applies with mortgages. To buy your first home, because you're compelled, you need the first home, you need your own owned home, in other words. Then you can pay interest on that mortgage, but not for the second home. For investment, again, ulama have view with this regard that you can't pay, you can't buy the second home, for example, and pay interest for the investment unless you're compelled, muttar, in other words. Basically, your living is based on, and so forth.
From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Is plastic surgery and enlargement of the sexual organs acceptable in Islam?
The problem is when the doctor is involved in the operation, he needs to check, to basically deal with that private part, and that's haram. For him to look, to touch, and so forth. So actually, to start the operation would be haram. That's the issue.
Fair. And I think we've got time for one more question, do we? Producer, we've got time for one more? From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. And the question is, we are told to do Sila Rahim with our relatives. What if our relations are taking our advantage and abuse our humbleness or niceness? Are we allowed to break relations with them? So sometimes, Sheikhna, we have family members who can be quite toxic. Do we still need to do Sila Rahim with them? Are we still meant to be, attached? Are we still meant to, keep up relations with them, especially when they're doing us a disadvantage?
Yes, Salatul Rahim is very encouraged in Islam, but to cut the ties, that's forbidden. Qat'u al-Rahim is haram, basically. So especially in this holy month, try to make this bond and connection with your relatives, blood relatives, and uncles, aunties, and so forth. This is the best time and best moment in this holy month, inshallah.
Thank you very much, Sheikhna. Thank you to all the viewers for joining us on this episode of Ahkam SOS. If we didn't answer your question, we do apologize. We've run out of time. However, me and the Sheikh will be back tomorrow, 8:30 here on Imam Hussein TV3. You can join us then and send in your questions via the WhatsApp, or when you're watching live on Facebook or on YouTube, you can put your questions in the comment section. Until then, please remember us in your du'as, and we'll see you tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.
Water is the key to life, yet millions have no access to this basic human necessity. Imam Hussein Charity is building water wells in Pakistan. Help the survival of many who can't have this basic human right. Those
فمما روي عن سيدنا ومولانا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم: إني تارك فيكم ما إن تمسكتم به لن تضلوا بعدي، أحدهما أعظم من الآخر، كتاب الله حبل ممدود من السماء إلى الأرض، وعترتي